What is up, guys? Rick Kakas here, and today we have a brand new Anthem update discussing the latest information on BioWare's new game. We've actually had quite a lot of information trickle out from quite a lot of sources after the big E3 Anthem reveal, and that's the information we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, just before we get started, guys, I have partnered with ASTRO. If you are looking for amazing gaming headphones, including the ones I personally use, the A40s, check the link in the description down below, save some money, and help me out. That's the definition of a win-win right there. Alright, now moving on to the information. So, let's first talk about the story, because we got some brand new story details and really quite a lot of clarification details via a new Game Informer article. Right now, Anthem is being featured on Game Informer, so over the next month or so, we're going to have a bunch new exclusive information from them. But they've very recently released their first set of articles. Now, to carry into that new information, let's talk about how the story is being told in Anthem, because this is often misunderstood by many people. So, in Anthem, you essentially have two different aspects of the game. You have the open world. This is where you're going to do all of your missions and fight enemies and team up with other people. Anthem is, in essence, a social game. You're always going to have opportunities to do any sort of combat, any sort of mission with other people, whether that's teaming up with your friends, people you personally know, or people from your, guild or clan or whatever kind of system they introduce, or just other random people. There's going to be in-game matchmaking for pretty much everything in Anthem, except for the second half of the game, which is Fort Tarsis. Now, I'm not dividing this into halves because of content. The open world has way more content than Fort Tarsis, but just in the type of activities you're doing. Again, the open world is all of the shared experience, all of the social experience. When you go into Fort Tarsis, however, you are just there as an individual player. You will not see any other players running around your Fort Tarsis. So it's kind of the opposite of the tower in Destiny. Yes, that does mean you won't be able to show off your sweet emotes and dick around with your friends, which is always fun, but it does mean that BioWare can give a much more tailored storytelling experience to you. Because, of course, this is a BioWare game, and BioWare has always been known to tell amazing stories with their franchises. Mass Effect, for example, probably some of the best storytelling out there, period. So how are they doing that in Anthem? Again, it's through Fort Tarsis and the division between it and the rest of the game. So your choices out in the world, when you go and do a mission or so on, you're then going to come back and interact with characters within Fort Tarsis. Talk to them, make decisions with them, and depending on how your conversations go within Fort Tarsis, you can potentially impact the world. But you are absolutely going to impact your Fort Tarsis. So if you are horrible to a certain character, if you don't like a character, you're mean to them, you don't fulfill their quests, or whatever you do to spite them, essentially, those interactions with that character are going to become negative. Furthermore, you could do the opposite. Be very positive, do what they ask you to accomplish, like do their missions and so on, and then you're going to have positive interactions with those characters. So again, your storytelling is centered around Fort Tarsis, and that's frankly a very intelligent way to introduce story into such a social game. Now, speaking of story, we did get a few details involved around that. Firstly, in terms of the overarching storyline and background information of Anthem, what we know so far is that it's a world left unfinished by the gods. These mysterious beings essentially left Shaper relics, these massive artifacts littered around the landscape, and these artifacts have the power to change the world and the environment. And then of course there's a struggle to understand and control these artifacts. Now, the quote from the Game Informer article that stood out to me was, "Shaper relics seem to activate randomly, causing cataclysmic changes to the world and creating a hostile environment that makes daily life a constant struggle." The word there that really does stand out is randomly. They activate randomly, and that to me says world events, or essentially Anthem's public events. When you're exploring the world, especially in the free roam option, which is just the ability to go out in the entire map and explore where you will, there's going to be Shaper relics that turn on and create these big events, and you have to go and deal with that event. And that's sweet to see that Anthem apparently has its version of Destiny's public events, because I think public events in Destiny are a lot of fun. Now, focusing more on the story, another quote is about these Shaper relics and about how they got there, because, quote, no one knows for sure, because whatever happened was so long ago that it passed out of memory and into legend. Everyone has their own opinion of where they came from and why they're here, says lead producer Mike Gamble. Different groups, different sects, different organizations pop up around trying to answer that question. So, again, this is kind of an interesting narrative, and this is the mystery and the intrigue that we're looking forward to in BioWare games. I mean, with Mass Effect, what the heck are the Reapers really all about? Who created the Reapers? All of that stuff. There was big mysteries for the longest period of time. But this is also kind of setting the stage for that same kind of mysterious background in the world of Anthem. Were there really gods that created the world, or could they still be like living among us? Could humans have created these Shaper relics and then something happened and that particular bunch of humans were wiped out? It was just a little bit that survived and that little bit forgot, or that little bit was a different sect unbeknownst to the humans that were in charge. Like, there's a lot of potential really cool things, and I think the mystery is really setting the stage for the storytelling and, again, the world of Anthem. And it's good to see these type of things, right? You want codexes and, grimoire cards and lore and all of that stuff to really keep you intrigued with the world of the game you're playing. Now, I mentioned humans, but that's kind of a really interesting question in and of itself. Are these humans from Earth, or are these completely unrelated, or what the heck is going on there? Well, some information about that was there are no colony ships, Dara says, who is an executive producer of Anthem. There are ruins out in the wilderness that were obviously built by people, in addition to these ancient bits of Shaper technology lying around. But humans have been here long enough that there are ruins built by humans. So that's really interesting, like that they have been established for such a long time. They don't remember where these ruins are coming from, but humans were there potentially at the same time the Shapers were there. That's really cool. But it continues. There are humans here, but they are not Earthlings, Warner says. There are no ties to Earth or another planet. This is the place they originated. So it seems like the storyline of this being a colony from Earth or something like that gone awry. That's not the case. Now, it was actually asked, is this an alternative universe? Like a different reality that's happening with Anthem? And Casey Hudson being asked was like, whoa, I'm not spoiling anything like that. So potentially that's a possibility. It's really interesting what the heck is going on in the world of Anthem. Now, continuing on about the humans in Anthem, they're not actually all on Fort Tarsis. This is a common misconception about Anthem. People saw Fort Tarsis and thought, oh, it's the last city from Destiny. Except not really, because, again, there are human colonies, frankly, potentially, all over the planet. Fort Tarsis is just one of those human colonies. It's a safe place where a lot of people have gathered. To the north, there's another human colony, the Dominion, and these are kind of the main bad guys. They have become more militaristic, more, well, frankly, fascist, according to BioWare, and they have really spread down and are trying to control the Shaper relics. And of course, you do not want that to happen, so you're combating them, and that's, again, the main enemy sect you're fighting. Now, part of this enemy sect is the Scars. These are kind of weird. In fact, it was revealed in an interview with Game Informer that these are not human, but they're also not aliens. They're somewhere in between. They're like humanoid. And that's really interesting. My theory is that potentially the Scars, because we don't really know too much about them, What if they are the descendants of the ancient humans? The Scars were humans back when they were building the relics we talked about a little earlier. And then they interacted with the Shapers or the Shaper relics and something happened. They split off and became the Scars, whereas we have other normal people. That would be a potentially pretty interesting twist. But again, this is pure speculation. But this whole concept about there being more than just one location where humans reside on Anthem. Again, we have Fort Tarsis, home to one faction up to the north, we have the Dominion, and we have who knows how many more different human factions out there. That opens some really interesting possibilities for future DLCs. One of the major themes in Anthem is exploration. You push out of Fort Tarsis and you go as far as you can, collecting resources and loot and so on, and then you kind of come back. And that means that there's a lot of things left unexplored. And for potential future content additions, what if you run into a completely new human faction on the other side of the world, or just off to the distance you're exploring, and then you run into a brand new style of javelin that you've never seen before, and this is part of a new human faction? That is totally a possibility, and that's really, really exciting. In fact, something else that was revealed about the lore of Anthem is that you aren't really too technologically advanced, except for your javelin. The javelins were made via the help of the Shaper relics, with the humans understanding, some of the Shaper relics, potentially capturing some certain pieces of technology and figuring out and applying those pieces of technology to those javelins. But again, apart from your suit, you aren't really walking around watching satellite TV in the world of Anthem. It's much more of a simple lifestyle for the majority of people aside from the freelancers in javelins. So if you do encounter another sect of humans, right, what will they have done with the Shaper relics they discovered? Perhaps instead of javelins, they're focusing on just massive carryable weapons that just decimate huge areas. And again, that is really awesome for just the lore and the story of Anthem, and sets the stage for potential DLCs and expansions, which, by the way, are going to be completely free. If you haven't seen the last Anthem update about that, you should definitely check it out, but Anthem is on the record in saying they're going to have free DLC. They don't want to split the community up, anything like that. The only monetization is just going to be direct purchase cosmetics, similar to a Fortnite store, and you can actually also earn those purchasable cosmetics in-game, so you don't even have to buy them. And then maybe, BioWare said maybe in the future there will be DLC javelins that are purchasable, like new javelins, and other than that, everything's free. No splitting up the player base, all of that stuff. So this game's looking real good. Again, I wanted to focus this video on lore, story, the world, and I think if you've watched this video, you're going to have a much better perspective moving forward when we talk about, more direct things. Guys, that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Anthem content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.